Blind.
The blind man didn't see the hole and almost fell in.
She was blinded in the explosion.
Doctor thinks he will go blind.
Each blind student was paired with a sighted student.
She was blind to her son's faults.
Blind.
Calculate.
I calculated how much money I would need to buy the car.
I'm trying to calculate the volume of a trapezoidal tank.
Height, weight, calculated body mass index, and blood pressures were recorded.
I calculated how much money I would need to buy the car.
This advertisement is calculated to appeal to credulous customers.
Calculate.
Chat.
Even though they were far apart, the couple chatted every day.
I saw a video clip of her talking on a chat show.
He was overlooking Chattanooga.
I play and chat with my friends there. We chatted with friends.
Chat.
Commit.
The two parties were willing to commit themselves to this agreement.
The committee members concluded the meeting early, so that they could finish their budgets.
The committee will discuss the relative merits of free trade and protectionism.
They made a commitment to peace.
The decisions by the management committee will affect everyone in the company.
Commit.
Compose.
Tanya composed her report using many sources of information. Tanya composed her report using many sources of information.
Cale also uses electronic keyboards to compose.
Mozart composed his last opera before he died.
Verdi was a famous composer of operas.
Compose. Dormitory.
I will move into the dormitory at the beginning of the school year. I will move into the dormitory at the beginning of the school year.
Some places are becoming dormitory towns.
The seniors live in the new dormitory.
Dormitory.
Exhaust.
John exhausted himself by swimming all day.
Some women may feel exhausted throughout their pregnancy.
The exhaustive report was acclaimed by everyone.
Every product is exhaustively tested before being sold.
She felt ill with exhaustion.
Exhaust.
Greenhouse.
Gladys grows a lot of tomatoes in her greenhouse.
We are suffering the greenhouse effect because of our listless environment.
Gladys grows a lot of tomatoes in her greenhouse.
It is becoming clear that agriculture needs to be more answerable for greenhouse gas emissions.
The President will enact policies to curb greenhouse gas emissions.
Greenhouse.
Ignore.
She ignores him.
While the other children interacted and played together, Ted ignored them.
Other factors such as the lift provided by the fuselage, tailplane and control surfaces were ignored.
It would be a mistake to ignore his opinion. They ignored my recommendation.
Ignore.
Obvious.
There is no obvious solution.
Her magic touch is so obvious in the decoration of her house.
He is obviously expecting no answer to his rhetorical question.
She never complains, but she's obviously exhausted.
An obvious change of attitude will permeate through the system.
Obvious.
Physics. Claire Lowell is a professor of medical physics at University College London.
The physics students studied quantum mechanics. Astrophysics is the branch of astronomy that deals with the physics of the universe.
His specialty is nuclear physics.
I have a PhD in physics. Physics.
Portion.
I only ate a small portion of the pizza.
I had learned a portion of the Quran. The food of this restaurant served in individual portions.
It is really difficult to reduce your meal portion sizes.
A limited partner contributes financially to the business in exchange for a portion of the partnership's profits.
Portion.
Remind.
Nick's dad reminded him to do his homework. Nick's dad reminded him to do his homework. That peculiar smell coming from the kitchen reminds me of rotten eggs. That smell reminds me of France.
I never wear gray because it reminds me of my office uniform.
Remind.
Secretary.
My secretary will phone you to arrange a meeting.
My secretary leaves us next week, so we'll need to find a replacement for her. The secretary will draw up a new contract. She chatted for a few minutes about the qualities she considered desirable in a secretary.
The CEO brought in a new secretary yesterday.
Secretary. Severe.
In Africa there is a severe water shortage.
Cholera is a serious bacterial disease that usually causes severe diarrhea and dehydration.
A 65-year-old patient suffers from severe viral pneumonia.
Some economists predicted that the forthcoming world economy would be severe.
The marathon is a severe test of stamina.
Severe.
Talent.
Maria has a talent for playing the piano.
He is not only handsome but also talented.
He is a talented conductor.
Her energy and talent took her to the top of her profession.
He is an extraordinarily talented designer.
Talent.
Thesis.
She did not support her thesis very well.
There is no empirical evidence to support his thesis.
The report contained several citations taken from her PhD thesis.
He was trying to write a doctoral thesis in mathematics. He was awarded his PhD for a thesis on industrial robots.
Thesis.
Uniform.
Do you have to wear a uniform?
They wear the company uniforms, drive trucks with the company logo, and deliver packages to your door.
The food at chain restaurants is uniformly prepared, so that customers will always find the same quality at each restaurant.
I never wear gray because it reminds me of my office uniform. He thinks that wearing the company uniform depersonalizes staffs.